So let's just meet properly before we get to conversations, just for a few minutes. I say the natural human condition is free. If that's true, then it only needs to be discovered. It doesn't need to be attained. It's already the case. So that's good news. Everyone is always free already. So here, when we work together, we come to find this out. We've gotten into the bad habit of believing ourselves to be limited and contracted, to this very exclusive appearance here. And because we haven't been shown the message of freedom, we have no way to know something different. So let's find out a little something different about ourselves. There's nothing wrong with the contractions, of course. Everything's fine. Thoughts are fine and emotions are fine. Sensations are fine. All of the sensory objects, the sight, sound, smell, taste, all of that's fine. Even the limited feeling of being here is fine. Nothing is wrong. But because we think that's what we are exclusively, then we limit ourselves. So let's have a shift of knowing, a shift of being for a moment, and come to know something else about ourselves as well. So just for a moment, we spend most of our days and lives attending to something. It's our work or our friends or our partner or a movie, or the main thing we're attending to is me, the thoughts and the sensations and the emotions. So just for a moment, I say just don't attend to anything at all, anything in particular. Don't attend to any one thing in particular. Just allow attention to be blown wide open, pure knowing. And quickly attention goes to an object, thoughts or something, anything's fine, no problem. But then again, for a moment, just blown wide open, I know that I am here. I don't mean I know that I'm here as this body on this call. I mean pure being with no name and no form. Simply, purely subjective. I. And just be this for a moment. What we notice is no longer is this knowing exclusively focused on anything in particular. This knowing includes everything. Everything is equal here. All of the objects of your room, all of the sensations of the body, all of the sounds, the thoughts. Everything is concluded equally. But we're not going to attend to any of those things for a moment. We're going to attend to the simple fact, I. Purely subject, I. No object, simply I know myself, pure subject. This has always been true in your entire life. This has always been true. This has never changed. This aspect. At any moment of your life, had you looked and noticed, it would be I. No name, no form, no history, no politics, no preferences, no aversions. No past, no future, no self, only I. And everything that appears is known, isn't it? Is known by I. For example, now, just know I fully blown wide open, all inclusive. And just notice also, without denying anything else, there's some sensations. Aren't those sensations just one appearance within? Purely subjective, blown wide open eye. Everything else is here also. And the primary is I. This is not changing. The sensations are changing. They come and they go, they're pleasant, they're unpleasant. They're here and then they're gone. But what is never gone be that for a moment. This about you has always been free of self and ego and past and preferences and aversions and political affiliations and gender and regrets and guilt and remorse and blame and judgment. This about you has always been free. It's within freedom, your essential being, freedom, the natural human condition, in which all of those things I just mentioned have their little display temporarily. Like just flitting on a movie screen. They have their little display. A judgment comes and goes. A regret comes and goes. A political affiliation comes and goes. And yet, I'm here the whole time. I don't change. So then who are you essentially? Again, I don't deny any of the appearances. They're all an aspect of you as well. They're the ephemeral aspect of who you are. They're you also. But you essentially is the eternal I, never coming and never going. So be who you are for a moment. Just simply be. Not anything in particular. Not a man or a woman or European or an American or an Indian. Those are all fine. Those are the ephemeral. But be that which is the eternal. Always you. The natural human condition has always been free. You have always been free. You've never not been free. So that's just a little simple meeting where we all come together, where we're all the same. No one's higher and no one's lower. No one's a teacher and a student and enlightened and not enlightened, anything like this. We see that this is true for everyone. It's simply to come to know. If anybody wants to talk about anything or ask a question about anything? Hi, Doug.
Reminded me of that old saying that really came true. It says, serenity is not freedom from the storm. Serenity is peace in the midst of the storm.
Oh, is that a saying? I never heard, but that's what I say all the time.
Yeah. It's a saying. I have it on, I found it on a little blue card that someone had given me about 25 years ago. I always kept the card.
That's
And
cool.
yeah, and it really registered true yesterday after, and I went and I looked for the card after I spoke with my wife's daughter.
Great.
Yeah.
That's the most important time to know freedom, to know serenity. The most important time is in the middle of the storm.
Yeah.
It's easy to be free when nothing's wrong.
Right.
Everyone's enlightened, you know. But in the midst of an emotion or something like that, you can, at least for a moment, you can recognize what I'm sharing, and then you come to know more and more that you're free always, and then it becomes your natural condition, basically, you know. But you need to know in the midst of the emotions, in the midst of a tough moment, a tough time, when you're struggling, in the midst of that, just for a moment, you just, yes, okay, everything is here, everything is included, including this emotion, but everything else too. And fundamentally, the most important thing is I am here. So I always say, know that you are before, during, and after all appearances. Before, you're here. Before an emotion comes, you're here. here and now, like now. When an emotion appears, you're here. You might be focused on an emotion, but if in the midst of an emotion, if you look, you'll say, I'm here. And then the emotion is gone and I'm here, and I haven't changed. Not only have I not changed, I haven't been touched at all. The natural human condition of health doesn't mean you don't have emotions coming and going, doesn't mean there aren't challenging moments in life. It means, in one way of speaking, because I speak of freedom in many ways, but in one way of speaking, the natural condition of health is that anything comes and goes, and when it's gone, it's gone. There's nothing left. There's no residue. The normal human condition is that we go over and over and over, and we hold on to, and we judge ourselves. And then when something happens that's not so good or nice or whatever, or something worse, then that becomes a story that we carry around like luggage. And then we are touched by it. But when the natural human condition of health, which is who we all are essentially, is known very clearly, very well, doubtlessly, then you don't even worry in the midst of it, anything that's appearing, because you already know it doesn't matter, I'm free. So anything comes and goes, you know. But while you're coming to know more and more, then in the midst of something like that, for a moment, oh yeah, there's also everything. It's not just this particular contraction. That's not the only thing that there is. There's also I, free. And then when that contraction is gone, what's touched? You're completely pure. Nothing is touched at all. There's nothing. Nothing happened. So that's the natural human condition that I speak about. Can we live like that? Yes, we can live like that. Are we habituated to hold on to things? Regret, guilt, remorse, blame, acrimony, judgment. Are we habituated to do that? Yes. That's the normal, that's the normal human condition. But that's not the natural human condition. The natural human condition is things flow by and nothing is left because I'm free. And then the highs come and you feel them, the lows come and you feel them as well. Okay, such is life. No problem. It's all part of the play of life. Why deny anything, you know? So yeah, that's good what you said about your daughter. She realized what most seekers are doing. First, we do it in psychology and drugs and everything else, trying to avoid and escape the unpleasant. And so then when we feel good, Sal, I'm so enlightened. And I say, yes, talk to me tomorrow. Let's see how enlightened you are then, you know. And then when we feel bad, we've lost something, you know. And so we seek to find some permanent state where we're always feeling good, just like you said. But that's what seeking is. In one way or another, don't fool yourself. We're seeking to feel good every minute and never feel bad. We want relief. Well, you see, that doesn't work. Awake or not, sometimes things happen that are not pleasant. That's life, you know? Okay, why argue? Why argue? If life was only meant to be pleasant, then life would only be pleasant. But apparently, life wasn't always meant to be pleasant. So it's not. So then why argue? Instead of arguing, which is what we do when we're seeking, or when we're taking drugs, or seeking, what's the difference? Taking drugs to avoid, or seeking to try to avoid, or doing sadhana to try to repress and suppress, whatever. It's all the same. Seeking, when we know who we are, free, and then we don't have to be dependent on any particular state to verify that we're okay, because we know we're okay. because we've had a shift of knowing. We know our essential being. We know the peace that passes understanding. We know the silence of our essential being that's untouched by anything, that's here before, during, and after every appearance, that's safe before, and it's safe during also, we come to know, and then it's safe after as well. So then that's no longer any seeking is needed, no longer any dependence on any particular state is needed. And that's freedom. Because if you need to be in a particular state to be free, then you ain't free, baby. That's bondage with velvet ropes, as I say a million times. I feel good, Sal. Okay, that's bondage with velvet ropes, because tomorrow you won't feel so good. So the real freedom has nothing to do with that. The real freedom is the knowing I am, and the being that. And the end of the arguer, the one that says, I have to be in a particular state of feeling good, otherwise I'm not free, or I'm not okay. Not even free, I'm not okay. So we come to know something different with this work. We come to know the natural human condition of freedom, of health, in which everything is fine, no problem. Let it come, let it go, let it rip. Right. Yes, of course we're all gonna go, of course. So how do you want to live? Keep seeking? You want to keep seeking? On my deathbed, I'm not going to say I seeked my whole life. I'm going to say, I lived, I found. You never know when you're going to go. So when are you going to want to come to know freedom? 20 years from now? How do you know? A few lifetimes from now? How about now? How about coming to know freedom now? Nothing is preventing you from coming to know freedom, other than your own readiness, which you don't have anything to do about. One is either ready or not. Robert came to an intensive, very ready to hear the message. Many other people come to intensives, very ready to hear the message. People on this call, I feel, are very ready to hear this message. That's why you're here. Because you're not going to get a lot of beautiful, poetic talking out of this guy here. I just give you simple truth, that's all. And so I say the time to know freedom is now. Not next week and not next year and not after 20 more years of meditating. What the hell are you waiting for? Come to know freedom now. Why not? Why not? I'll tell you why not. It's because beaten into our heads is the sense of unworthiness from our religions that tell us there's only one God and one Jesus and one Muhammad and one Ramana and one this, and it ain't you. They're in the enlightened club, but you're not entitled. Well, it's nonsense. And it goes to very gross ways like that and subtle ways of feeling unworthy. And I say, that's the only obstacle you have to know freedom. There's no other obstacle. Once it's clicked in your mind that freedom is your birthright, because it's you, the natural human condition, it's you. You just saw for 10 minutes at the beginning of this call. It's you. So then, okay, so have it. It's not only for Ramana, it's not only for the Buddha. It's you. Have it. That's the only obstacle. Your sense that you're not worthy. but you are. That's what my work is about. That's what intensives are about. That's what everything I do is about. Letting you come to know for yourself. You. Who cares about me? What about you? I am only interested in letting you know that you're free. Here, check it out. I just pass on a message, you see. I'm not a guru or anything. I'm not even really a teacher. A message comes here for whatever reason, I don't know, but it comes out of this body, mind, mouth into your body, mind, and that message sprouts. No one's doing any of it. It's the message of freedom. It's not my message of freedom. It's the message of freedom. It comes out of here, it goes into your body, mind, and it sprouts. That's all that's happening here. And that's what an intensive is also. Hi, Nina.
Hi, Sal. I did the intensive a few months ago.
Yes, of course I
And
know.
about halfway through, the search just stopped, just like
Yes.
that. After
I remember at the beginning of the intensive, you said, I don't want to be one of those people that never gets it and has to come a million times, remember? Excellent.
I'll probably do the next intensive anyway.
Yeah, it's good. It's good, but that's great. Anyway, please, I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, Nina.
It's fine. So I haven't looked back since then.
That's
But
amazing.
I came to realize that there was a search going on in other areas of my life. Like I thought there was an answer to relationship stuff, to work stuff, all of that. And most of that has fallen away. But the one area where it hasn't is to do with money. And I've had sometimes quite obsessive thoughts about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I play around with it, but I would say that's an area where I haven't found freedom. And it feels, I think I'm still looking for an answer in that regard.
Money's, it's a very fundamental need. Everybody needs money. There's nothing wrong with money. We have to have money. That's how we feed ourselves and keep a roof over our head and live a nice life, So do you have enough money to live a nice life? You're struggling with money, or?
Well, I certainly struggle with it in my mind. I have a pretty decent life.
Okay, good. So, this is very good to hear. So, how much do you need? How much do you want so that you can feel at ease? Just let me know. I'll write you a check.
I don't know. I think I'm caught in a place where it's never enough.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. That's very good, and that's a very common for most of us, for all of us. So then you just have to continue to see what's truly the most valuable. Nina, you know this already from the intensive. What's the most valuable? And that's that you're free and that you're already complete. Aren't you already complete and whole? We can only know now in this moment. Right now in this moment, is anything lacking? No. Okay. And so right now in this moment, and if you had no money and you're going to be kicked on the street, that's something different. Then you have to consider the practicalities. But if that's not your case, and it's just like a habitual, lifelong fear of not having enough, or something, so then that we can deal with, because then let's see right now in this moment, because you can only see in this moment. Are you lacking anything? Yeah. Do you really need more money?
Right now, no.
Okay, so then the answer is to keep being devoted. I'm not a psychologist. We're not trying to get rid of anything or get rid of that. Instead, we turn attention to that which is free and keep being devoted to being free. And just, why do I want to worry about that? because I already am fully abundant. Really, if what you do, come to know your freedom, what you have, come to see you're fully abundant. Everything comes and goes, and yet, aren't you always fine your whole life?
There's always a sense of having to do some work around it.
Around the money issue?
Yeah, because as soon as I go into the future, whether it's tomorrow or the end of the month or whenever it is, then I come back to lacking.
Yeah.
And, you know, I try out different questions like, did I create that thought? But I can't seem to get myself loose from it.
That's okay, but you know you didn't create the thought, right? And you know you didn't create that particular fear, did you? Did you create that fear? It's just it's a habit you've had for probably a long time, something that somehow got in and that fear was elicited. So you already know, you don't have to tell yourself I didn't create that. You already know that. You never have to tell yourself that, you know, right? You know there's no Santa, and you know you didn't create that thought. You don't have to keep reminding yourself there's no Santa, and you don't have to remind yourself that you didn't create that thought. The only thing needed is to keep living free, just to keep turning attention to the full abundance that you are right now, fully abundant. Oh my God, what more can I want? You know, what was the scientist that was crippled? He died a couple of years ago. He had Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
They said they said they were, you know, he spoke with that thing in the box, and he said, and he's really in deeply physical distress. I mean, he had really extreme physical issues, you know, as we all know. And I don't remember the exact question they asked him. It was like, Stephen, what do you wish you had different? He said, what more could I want than this? I mean, come on. We should be ashamed to see someone like that say that, you know, I already have everything.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. We all have, money is a big one, man. Come on. Unless you have a lot of money, and then you're very cocky, but let's see, remove it and then see how cocky you are, you know? Money is a big one. Of course, it goes right to the root of our survival, doesn't it? So yeah, it's no joke. And yet still the resolution is always the same. Come to see that you're fully abundant. What more do I need?
I'll think of Stephen Hawking.
What's that?
I said, I'll think of Stephen Hawking.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nina. Nice to see you. Very happy to hear about how it was for you. And it'll be nice to have you on the next intensive also. Which, by the way, I haven't announced yet, but it's starting September 4th for anyone who might be interested. That's the next online intensive, September 4th. And then this winter, January, February, 2 months here in Tiruvannamalai. 3 10-day intensives, and in between freedom meetings. So it's 2 full months. You can do 1 intensive, 2 intensives, or you can do the whole 2-month season. And it's going to be very powerful. So I'll be announcing all of that soon. Yeah, we'll provide all that information. There are guest houses and bed Airbnbs and some bigger hotels, but those aren't, you know, if I'm going to provide a lot of information for everyone, and hopefully we'll have someone to help as well, to help people get settled in once they come. It's best to book well in advance though, because that season is the busy season. There's a couple nice places. Sparsa Hotel is very nice. Swimming pool, nice rooms, restaurant. That's, and then you can just have a rickshaw take you to the meetings every day. And yes, Linda, I know you were here, Linda Brotherton. I was looking at you when I said some of you have already been here. I was looking at you when I said that. Maybe you'll come again. I think you were on my first intensive, maybe.
Yes, I was.
I was the first one.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think that being in somewhere that was strange and not as comfortable as I would normally have was beneficial to the message that we were learning.
That's true.
Absolutely. I went through a whole lot of shit around, oh, this isn't what I'm used to, this isn't what I would normally have, to really letting go of all that and just being in the intensive, which is what happened on the last few days. I mean, you may not remember, you've done a lot since, but I shifted in the intensive from being tight and unsure, and then going back to the hotel that I stayed in, which was okay, but it wasn't great. It was okay. And found that sleeping there and listening to the audios at night, because I was on my own most of the time, I came to see the difference between attachment and freedom. And I think for me personally, the thing that keeps me as close to freedom as I can be is remembering the devotion and the value. So when I get myself into a state, or when something happens, somebody died, a family member died last week, and there was a lot of trauma around it, I simply, very simply and quickly, just say, what is valuable?
Yeah,
this chaos or this?
That's great.
So for me, it's the remembering the devotion and value to freedom. That's how I work with it.
That's the key right there. Exactly. That's the key to liberation, devotion to truth, as you know. That's great. I'm glad to hear it. That's good.
Yeah. Loved it. I might be back.
I hope so. It'd be nice to see you again.
It'd be great to see you.
And Tir is a very powerful place to have the intensives. There's just something in India. And being in India, if you haven't been to India, just being in India itself is very powerful just in itself. So to do this work here in an immersive situation, well, so the difference between online and live and in person, online is we can't be all day, every day like we are live. So it's, we meet a few times a week, but you're coming to know freedom in the midst of your daily life, which of course at the end of the day is the most important. So it's very powerful in that way. But coming here, 10 days with me or more, if you spend a couple of months in India, going over this work all day, every day, living this freedom in an intensive, immersive situation, it's very powerful. It's a very powerful time. You can have a real paradigm shift. Jeremy, go to my website, liberationis.com. And liberationis.com, and go to the intensives. I haven't announced the dates there, but if you sign up to my mailing list, then I will let you know when the information comes. What I'll have is 3 10-day intensives, and in between the intensives, there'll be like 4 or 5 days of shorter meetings for people who have been on intensives. So really, there can be a 2-month period. I think it's good to come to India for longer than a week or two myself, So you can come to 1 intensive, 2, or all 3, spend 2 months here, and it's going to be It's going to be good. Not a lot of questions. I mean, sometimes when we have this blown wide open, knowing what is there to question, you know. But if there are questions, it's good to ask them, but it's not necessary. But it is good to get them cleared up. No, I don't have private sessions any longer. I used to years ago, but I can't do that anymore. But the online intensives, which start in September, so we meet on a Sunday. We have a meeting, which is an inquiry session, and that's a couple hours. And then I record the audios, and you listen to the audios for a couple of days. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is Q&A days, and there's 3 different timings. So you'll be able to join 2 of those. So you can join the 3rd one, but there's always one in the middle of the night for someone, because I do 3 different times to cover everyone in the world, you know. So you have an inquiry meeting each week, and then 2 or 3 Q&As each week, and everything's recorded, and you listen to those audios as well. And it lasts for 8 weeks, 2 months. Yeah, just liberationis.com. Go to my intensives, but I didn't put all the information there yet. I just put let you know that they're coming, but very soon I'll be announcing the online, and then there's a lot of information there.
Okay.
But that'll come in the next week or 2. If you sign up on the mailing list, then I'll let you know. I'd say in the next 2 weeks I'll be announcing the dates for the online, and then by the summer I'll announce the India dates. I have to. That takes a little more planning.
Hi, likewise. Yeah, so my question is, I guess when you're devoted to truth, living a life devoted to truth, you still have to make choices about kind of, what direction to go in life or what to do next. And I'm just wondering, what's the best way to make these choices? Just letting the answers arise, or?
Well, the first thing which is a huge part of the intensive, you have to look into the question, is there any choices to make? Is there a chooser? Is there anything like that going on? And the answer is no. So you don't make any choices. So it's hard for me to just sum it up. Whatever appears for you in the moment is what is appearing for you in the moment. So I use 2 weeks on the intensive is about this exact question. And I use some very simple experiments and inquiries to look into it. So for example, let's say there are 2 jobs that you are offered. Let's say you're offered 2 jobs, and then I got to choose which one. So you think that you're in there choosing. This is the mistake. There is no you in there choosing. In one moment, oh my God, this job sounds really good. And that's all that there is. In that moment, all there is this job sounds really good. That's all there is. And so then it feels like, this job. But then in the next moment, but this job, the benefits. And so in that moment, that's what is. So it goes back and forth. You're not creating that movement. I try to give one simple example. It could be anything. And then back and forth goes this movement, and you think I have to make a choice, but that's not what's happening. At some point, one of those becomes clearly the most dominantly attractive options. And then that's the movement goes in that direction. And then subsequently, or before, never in the moment, but either subsequently you say, I chose job number B. No, this is not actually what happened. What happened is that's what happened. So before the fact, you can say, I have to choose something. And after the fact, you can say, I chose something, but this is ego. But in the midst of that, there's no one doing any of that. You see what I'm saying? So the question is, yes, but I have to plan my life. Of course, we're taught we have to plan our life. And so then we worry and stress and everything, but it doesn't really work that way. So you have to come to rest in freedom, know that you're not the doer of anything, and then you relax more, and the right thing will happen, or the wrong thing, but the thing that happens is what's going to happen, you know. Does it make
So
any sense?
basically, yeah, and of course. I mean, I get that there's no doer and that we don't really choose, but in a way, and I mean, I guess the more kind of connected we're to truth and to kind of being, then in a way there's a realization that we're not choosing. But on a, I guess everybody else will see us as making certain choices, right?
Yes.
So
right.
I guess my question is really, in a way, the way to kind of be more aligned to truth and to kind of make choices that allow us. Yeah, see, it's kind of a. So I guess your advice is to just relax in being and just be
You're always
connected to
aligned to
truth.
truth.
And then,
There's only truth. This moment is all there is, and it's truth, this moment. So you're never not aligned to truth. You are truth. Whatever it is, hearing is truth. And only a thought comes, I have to make the right choices that are aligned with truth. Well, how do you know what the right choices are that are aligned with truth, or whatever, you know? You're not that you're doing this, but there's the creation of an ego that thinks it knows something or has a particular fear or aversion or desire or preference, and then wants to make choices that fit. This is just an egoic movement. If you can just relax and just be free, and you'll see that you're always truth. You can't not be in truth.
okay, and whatever happens, happens. It's almost just kind of.
Well, I don't.
I guess.
Yeah, I don't mean it in a fatalistic way. Whatever happens, happens. But that's true, isn't
Right.
it?
Right. I guess I'm trying to kind of. I understand, that there's no chooser. At the same time, I'm wondering how to deal with kind of the practical aspects of life that require practical choices, right?
It comes down
So,
to oh, sorry.
and eventually, eventually one choice will just naturally become more attractive and obvious, and that's the choice
I
we
don't like to call them
make,
choices.
as in we're not really choosing the best. Right.
There are no choices. There is only what is. There's not only no chooser, there are no choices. There's only what is. There's what is. So I don't know what your particular specifics are about what you're in your particular case, but you just have to look into your life and see that because of the need to know and feel safe and secure that everything's going to be okay, comes this desire to choose correctly. Because what if I choose wrong, then everything's not going to be okay. This is really what's happening underneath the, behind the curtain, isn't it? What if you know everything's okay already?
That doesn't really matter that much what direction the movement goes in.
Yes, that's correct. At the level of, I don't even like to say that it doesn't matter, because that also can sound kind of cynical, maybe, or I don't, and nihilistic. I don't think to me it's a celebration. Whatever is. There's no meaning to me. There's no meaning to life or anything. Some people say no meaning is depressing. Meaning to me, no meaning is a celebration. Not knowing is a celebration. Why can I feel that way? Because I know I'm fine now. So look at your life. You're not very old, of course, but still you've had a life where so many things have come and gone already, right? Have you not lost many things in your life? Have you always gotten to things that you want in your life? No. Have you? Good. If you said yes, I'd be jealous.
No.
Have things always gone the way you want them to go in your life? And look at yourself right now. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm
Oh, go. So when are you not going to be fine then?
It's interesting, I guess, what you were talking about earlier about how, and the gentleman that shared earlier about thinking that only when you're in a positive emotional state that you're aligned or you're there, because we're also there when we're not in an aligned or in a positive or pleasant emotional state.
Yes,
but I think it's about
truth.
remembering that that's true. That
I'm sorry, because we have a delay, I think, here. So I'm sorry. I don't mean to step over what you're saying. Please carry on.
Oh, no worries. No, just that it's about reminding ourselves that even if we're not feeling happy or pleasant emotions, that we're still fine, really.
It's about seeing in the midst, which is what we do on an intensive. It becomes very clear. You can also get a feel for it now, but it becomes very clear on intensive. And that's what Linda was saying and somebody else. In the midst of a feeling that's not so good, you can have a look for a moment and say, I'm fine. It doesn't mean you feel good. That emotion may still be there, but just for a moment. And I don't say hold on to it forever either. I say for a moment. Come out into the sun. Because when we're just wrapped up into the emotion, nothing wrong. That happens too. I don't judge anything, by the way. Everything's fine. But when we're just wrapped up in the emotion, it's like dark. It's just like claustrophobic, isn't it? It's a very limited experience of ourselves. But even in the midst of a strong emotion or sensation, for a moment, we can come out into the sun. Everything is here. I'm here. This is the I that's been here my whole life. And I was safe before this emotion came. I'm going to be safe when this emotion goes. And guess what? I'm safe now in the midst of it as well. This is what you have to see. This is how freedom blossoms, by really seeing this in your own experience, in the midst of, like I said before, if you're feeling good, you can think you're so enlightened. Then talk to me tomorrow.
Great. Thank you, Sal.
Thanks, Carolise. Nice to see you again.
Likewise.
You come to know once and for all, okay, I'm fine. Let it rip, baby. And as far as your decisions and your choices that you have to make in life, just the way to resolve that is to see that you're fine now. And to see that, in fact, you've always have been fine. And to realize I just have this projection that one day I'm not going to be fine. Well, so far it hasn't happened. You're fine. I can do. You want to say hello? You want to say hello? Here's Bindu.
Hi, guys. Cool. Enjoy.
Well, it's good to be with everyone. We come together in these meetings. Doesn't have to be a lot of questions. Questions are good. Silence is good. Just being in this recognition together, where we all meet, where we're all the same, where there's no name and there's no form. There's no history. There's no future. There's only pure being. This is freedom, you see. In one way of speaking, there's many ways I speak about freedom. And so what do you want? What do you want? You want to keep living in the rat race of your mind forever? In the fear and expectations, the hopes and the aversions? You want to keep living like that? We're all habituated to living like that. But you say you want freedom, no? Isn't that why you got on the spiritual path? Well, have it. Everything's fine, you see. Yeah, the body's going to go. Yeah, everything's going to go. Everything's going to go. Everything I ever had is gone. Okay. Do I want to be bound to the things that come and go? Dependent on everything that comes and goes? Well, that's a fool's errand, isn't it? Or do I want to know freedom and be free? We all say we want to be free. We're seekers, right? Then, okay, then. Thank you very much, everybody. Nice to see you, always. Thank you very much.